Sonic Superstars is a game I was not expecting this year, but since Sonic is better than it's been in a while with Sonic Frontiers a year ago, not to mention Sonic Superstars being a game more like the critically acclaimed Sonic Mania, I was really excited for Sonic Superstars, and after playing it, while I do have my issues that do hold it back, Sonic Superstars is a joy to play. Let's talk about it. Hi guys, DPX here, reviewing today Sonic Superstars. And before we get started, you know what to do. Be sure to like this video, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell and leave a comment, or I will waterboard you. First of all, the gameplay. It's really just a Sonic game in terms of the gameplay, but that's not particularly a bad thing. It feels like Sonic 1, 2, 3, Knuckles, CD, and Mania, but also feeling modernized. But the change of the gameplay is more so with the cast of characters you can play as. I say that, but like, most of the characters aren't new, but you know what I mean. Of course, you can play as Sonic, but also Tails, Knuckles, and for the first time in a Sonic game, Amy. Sonic is your all-around character, obviously, but then you got Tails, who can fly, of course. My boy Knuckles, who can of course glide and climb up walls, and newcomer Amy has a double jump and can run while swinging her hammer, definitely being a bit of like an easy mode for the game. I do wish when playing alone you can play as Sonic and Tails like in Sonic 2 and 3, but other than that, I like this. Not to mention, each zone is designed for each character. Each zone has walls for Knuckles to climb up, stuff Tails can fly over, platforms Amy can double jump to, or simply just run through like Sonic, you know what I mean? Speaking of the zones, or the levels, I really like them. A lot of them are similar, but they kinda have a new spin on them. Was that like an unintentional pun? Huh. Sonic Superstars could have been lazy and just reused Green Hill Zone, but it doesn't. In fact, pretty much all the zones in this game are new, and they also have pretty interesting ways to go through them. Normally, Sonic is just going left to right, but it's not exactly that simple in Superstars. Plus, there are certain levels where you go from the foreground to the background, which I think is really cool. I also have to mention the multiplayer. The 4-player co-op is a big selling point for Sonic Superstars, and while I wasn't really able to play with 4 people, playing this game co-op is a lot of fun. There are also other modes like a whole battle mode, and I think it's pretty cool even if I didn't play it nearly as much as I probably should have, but the post-game content is really something else. I don't want to spoil anything, but when you beat the game, specifically the main story is what I mean, there is still a good chunk of stuff to do, including a certain way to replay the whole game. You'd also go back to each zone and try to get each Chaos Emerald, which unlocks new abilities, which I also think is really cool. As for other stuff I like, Sonic, as usual, fails to disappoint with the music. So the music in Sonic Superstars is really solid. It often either has such a happy vibe, or is very catchy, or just slaps. In particular, I really like Bridge Island Zone Act 1, Pinball Casino Zone Act 1, and Egg Fortress Act 2, but many of the tracks are solid. There are also certain cutscenes that are purely animated like the ones in Sonic Mania, and it looks so good. Sometime down the line, and this might be asking for a bit much, but I want to see a Sonic game like this, but there are more cutscenes that look like this. I also really like the visual style. I think while it's nothing too crazy, the visual style they went with for this game works very well. And lastly, if you are a Sonic fan, especially classic Sonic, this game will do the trick. It has that charm. As for the mixed, these are some things I find worth mentioning, but are stuff that I don't feel necessarily right putting it in the good or in the bad, so it goes into the mixed. For one, the story. The story isn't bad, but you don't really come to a Sonic game for the story, at least not a 2D Sonic game for the story. It is cool to see Fang the Sniper, also known as Knack the Weasel. Reappear under his third name, Fang the Hunter, but other than that, the story it's a Sonic story. Another mixed thing is, while I praise the visual style, I wasn't really talking about the visuals themselves, like the graphics is what I mean. And that's because the graphics are a little rough. Now the reason I have this under mixed and not bad is because I did play it on the Switch, knowing that that was probably going to be the roughest version of the game. You know, I got the Switch version because I thought that was my best bet in order to play with friends. And I know that the PC, PlayStation, and Xbox versions don't look this rough, so I don't have it under bad because of that. But it's not just the visuals. The load times are stupid long. I died to a boss once because of a fucking glitch, and the game even crashed on me once. Again, I'm pretty sure this is just the Switch version, so I'm not completely holding it against the game, but it is worth noting. Another mixed thing is the length of the game. Playing through the game as one character takes around 4 to 5 hours. Like, I think you can beat this game in a single day. I purposely didn't do that, but I still beat it pretty quickly. The length is under the mix though, because while the main story might be short, there is a lot of post-game content, and even then, it's okay to have a short game every now and then. I'm just saying that the $60 price tag and the length of the main story might turn some people off. The final mixed thing is that it is a Sonic game. Now, I love that about this game, of course, but if you are not a fan of classic Sonic, I'm not sure if there is much here to make you a Sonic fan. Now we have moved on to the bad. First off, while I did say that the Chaos Emeralds were cool, after a while, I honestly kind of forgot they were in the game, so for me personally, they didn't really leave as much of an impact as I would have liked them to. There's also a water level in this game. Of course, there are water levels in many Sonic games, but I stand by this. Any game that has a water level, with some very rare exceptions, the water level is always the worst level in the game. It's even worse when you have a whole boss fight underwater, which brings me to my next negative, the boss fights. Some of them I found cool, but most of them, they were just not fun. I mean, first off, you pretty much just fight Dr. Eggman or Robotnik, or whatever you want to call him, in pretty much all the boss fights. But they honestly feel clunky, and I often died because of some dumb jank. Like, for example, when you get hit and the animation that follows makes you fucking jump backwards, making you fall over a platform, and now you died because of a goddamn animation. I know that was in a lot of the older Sonic games, but that doesn't mean it was a good thing. Sonic Superstars is a really good game. While those boss fights might make the game a little bit difficult to go back to, honestly, like, I mean it, they were not fun. Otherwise, though, this game has done enough to ensure that I want to play again, and with all the post-game stuff, there should ultimately be enough bang for your buck. It does co-op very well, and not to mention the playable characters, zones, music, and the overall charm of Sonic is here, making it a super fun time for any Sonic fan. I don't know if there is much for you if you are not a Sonic fan, but if you are, this game is a joy. However, I will say this, the many mixed and bad things I said do certainly hold it back from being top tier, so my opinion might actually change over time. But right now, overall, I give Sonic Superstars an 8 out of 10. So that's my review for Sonic Superstars. What do you guys think? I know this is going up very early, but good thing Walmart, you know, they sent me a copy 2 days ago, so yeah. But how are you guys enjoying the game? You guys like it, not like it? Do you guys have it, not have it? And if you don't have it, do you guys want to play it, not want to play it? Anything about the game, let me know down below. Anyways, be sure to like the videos, comment, subscribe, or I will waterboard you.